Welcome to The Heart of Truth, a podcast for seekers, visionaries, and conscious heart and soul-led leaders navigating this global shift in consciousness. Hosted by Amanda Erin Kelly, author and founder of Illumina Wisdom School of Mastery, this podcast explores the full spectrum of our potential and the hidden mysteries of our world, both inner and outer. Let's dive in deep to the nature of reality and rise up ever higher into the light of truth as we navigate the hero's journey home to the heart of truth. Hello, welcome back to the Heart of Truth. I am so excited for this week's episode because I have a beautiful guest and I'm so excited to be getting back into these interviews and conversations. Today, as we record, it is March 21st. We are in full-on spring equinox rebirth energy. New beginnings, and I will let Karina, our guest, share a little bit more about why this date is special as we get into it. But let me really briefly introduce her. So, Karina Schuil, I hope I'm kind of pronouncing that correctly. She is from the Netherlands, and she is an awakening coach, healer, and community builder. And she and I actually connected in a community that we are building and growing together, a really beautiful New Earth community, which we'll probably get into at some point in the episode. But I will pass the ball to you, Karina, to introduce to the audience a little bit more about yourself and what you do and why today is special, because it's really cool.
It is. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
Yes, my last name is actually Schuil.
Okay.
Schuil is fine because it's not pronounceable outside of the Netherlands, and it means hide, actually. So I was joking to Amanda, I'm Mrs. Hyde. But I'm not longer hiding, and I'm teaching other people not to hide any longer either.
Yeah.
And actually, my whole life has been about this journey of uncovering who I truly am and what my mission is here. And I've always felt that very strongly that I have a clear mission, something to do here on the planet. And well, these times, they are all about it. A little bit more later, I will first properly introduce myself. So I live in Amsterdam. I'm 52 years old already. I have three beautiful children, and my partner, we're living here. And I've had my career path in the corporate world for a long time. Then I had my own event and marketing agency. I ran that for about 13 years with a partner, and that was very much about me traveling the world, something that I love and I've always desired. So I did it. And that was beautiful for a long time, but I started feeling I truly desired more to live my purpose. So I tried to integrate that first in my business by organizing events for healthy, happy, and connected employees, or the field of happiness at work, these kind of things. But I still felt like a slave of my own company and a slave of the clients I worked for. Slave is not a nice word, but it's like I felt always I had to be on always, and I longed for more spaciousness, and I longed for people that truly understood what I was doing, and that truly felt this desire themselves too. So I no longer wish to work with companies that told their employees to do whatever I organized for them. So that's when I made the shift now 7 years ago, I think, to become a coach, and to help people step into their inner power.
Wow,
So, yeah.
that's so beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot that I want to comment on there because there's just I feel like a lot of people can resonate with that. It's like you try to carve your path in that world and then realize that, you've got the travel, you're helping people with the healthy, happy, integrating that into the corporate world, but it's still not right. Like, because it's still that old paradigm. And so your soul is still
Currently,
saying, no, this isn't it. This isn't quite it. Because I was in that space too. I
oh, me
kept
too. Wow.
yeah, I kept trying to like mold myself into that world. And that was my lesson. Like, I think that's the lesson for pretty much all of us, like stepping into our true soul purpose in an authentic manner. And I love that. I just want to comment on your name. What's in a name so much? I felt like my name held really powerful codes for myself. And, here you're sharing with the audience that your last name means hide. And you have to step out of hiding. And it's like sometimes it's like it holds a key or a code, but it can also hold our lesson, like my name, Amanda, worthy of love. That's a huge core wound of mine. So I just find that all
Worthy of
so
love. My
fascinating.
name actually means lovable.
Oh,
Karina in Spanish.
I
Spanish
love
people always go like, oh, Karina, Karina.
that.
So it's very connected, your name and my name, about
Yes.
love.
Oh,
Beautiful.
so much connection and resonance. It's no wonder that our paths have merged and come together
Awesome.
in the way they have. Yeah. So, oh, that's so beautiful. So, yeah, we're definitely going to dive deeper into this idea of soul purpose and, I would really be curious and I would love for you to share, what it took for you to have the courage to kind of break the mold and step onto this path. Like, what was that transition like for you?
Well, I think I've been born with it, honestly.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think if we can call it awake, it sometimes sounds like one is better than the other, but I mean it more from a conscious perspective.
Yeah.
I've been awake, I would say, for 20 years, but
Mhm.
looking back from an early age, I was the kind of girl to lie in my bed with my hands on my stomach or my head and wondering if I could take away the pain, if I would send energy to it. And
Mm.
then I would say to myself, yeah, you silly girl. No, of course that's not possible because we've never been introduced to,
Yeah.
yeah, the pure potentiality of that and the pure possibility of that. But as a young child and as a teenager, I read books about reincarnation. I've always wondered about the stars and the planet. And I really wrestled with themes like God was supposed to have always lived and will always live. How is that possible? Infinity and what is beyond infinity and all these things. So I started with this, and I believe we choose our lives, and especially as light workers, we come into this life and we choose paths that are not always the easiest. So I chose a path with my parents where it was very difficult to be lovable, as my name is, and where I needed to hide, but I wouldn't. From a young age on, I had this fierce knowing that I was here for more
Mhm.
because there was not much possibility in my childhood. My parents, well, every parent, most parents, they give what they have, but sometimes it's not a lot. And I always felt that I was here for more, and I wanted to do it, and I was going to do it. So from a very young age, I knew that the only way out was to step out of my comfort zone, and I did. There's a lot of things I taught myself. There's a lot of things I decided at a very young age I would do, and I did, like the travel. It was not possible within my family to travel, and I had these dreams about the world. So, from a very young age, I decided I wanted an international career. I'm going to do this and this hotel school. I'm going to do this and this path. So, when I was in my early 20s, I took the plane. I'd never been on a plane,
Oh, wow.
never. And
Okay.
I traveled to the United States, and I hopped on board a cruise ship and I started traveling. And from there, it opened up, right? I saw the whole world. I traveled everywhere for
Wow.
work, for myself with my backpack, and I made it my career. So I know how to forge a path. And this is actually, I'm coming from a space where I share a lot about human design in relation to one's purpose
Hmm.
and one's soul journey, and also astrology I'm diving into now. And it's all across the boards, all of the boards for me, that I'm here to forge a path forward for myself and my tribe.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
my whole tribal circuitry everywhere. So
Wow.
that is innate for me. And speaking about these times where you hinted at in the beginning, I told Amanda before we had this call that it's the 21st today of 2025. And I read yesterday that it's actually the ending of the Kali Yuga right now. And
Yeah.
it's a long term. It's like a whole phase we're going through, but the actual end, according to the calendar, is today.
Oof, I
Which
just
is
got huge chills again. When you shared that with me earlier, I had chills all up my leg. Um, so just in case anybody listening doesn't really know what the Kali Yuga is, would you like to actually, provide a little bit more context?
Well, I'm not an expert in that, but what I know about it is that it is the ending of the old era, and it's
Hmm.
probably linked also to the Pisces.
Hmm.
Um, Pisces has already ended, and we already entered Aquarius. But the Kali Yuga is like a cycle. I think it's in
It's
Mayan calendars, the end of an era of 12,000 years. I think I'm not actually quite sure exactly.
so I can definitely fill in gaps. I just wanted to give you the
Yeah, do
opportunity.
that.
Um,
This is my
I
take on it.
Yeah, yeah, no. So I'm not a total expert on it either, but I actually do mention it in my book a couple times
Ah,
because we're in this multi-year transition period, right? It was new to me that today was actually a specific date that was calibrated as the end of the Kali Yuga, but it's a 26,000 year cycle called the precession of the equinoxes. I believe it's like 25,600 and something, like to be really precise. But it's roughly 26,000 year cycle. And we're entering the age of Aquarius, not just Pluto in Aquarius, but like the age of Aquarius is like a 2,000 year cycle. So we have these
yes.
cycles within cycles. So Pluto is a generational planet that ushers in generational change. And the last time Pluto entered Aquarius, we had in America anyway, was the American
Yeah,
Revolution.
the
So
revolution. It's all about
revolutionary
revolution. Yeah.
energy. Yeah, yeah. And so now
Freedom
we're entering
fighters.
like the full age of Aquarius, but also a full 26,000 year cycle. And essentially, what this really means, the Kali Yuga is the dark age. And
Yes.
so it's a very tumultuous, chaotic, dark, and kind of destructive time because it's destroying the old ways, the old systems and structures, and in this case, of hierarchy and patriarchal dominance. And so we can kind of look back 250 years ago, the Revolutionary War and the French Revolution. What were they about? They were about uh, creating independence from elite rule, from royalty and stuff like that. And, we can get into, the shadows of our world today. But at the end of the day, this is the theme that we're in, and it's a total evolution, a revolutionary energy that is evolving us collectively into a much higher, state of consciousness, as well as to create this beautiful new reality. And what Karina has been sharing is that she is a way shower to help us anchor this new frequency in and help to create this
Definitely.
like this new world and this new energy, and like show people how to do this, forging the path forward. Yeah. So that's yeah,
That's
it's just
that's
so
forging the path forward. And that's for me specifically in my design, my
yes.
astrology is all about leading. Some people are just here to, be in that energy, exude that energy, and that is enough.
Yes.
And other peoples are truly here to be the way showers, to be the pathfinders, to be the path forgers, and
Yeah.
to build it, live it, and show it by living it, by fully embodying it. And that I have always felt that I had some deeper role than all the other things I ever did in life. And then
Hmm.
I'm also always about, what Steve Jobs called connecting the dots, because everything you've ever done in your life, and for me, that is even from the point where you were born, how you were born, how your childhood was, everything catapults you into the direction of now. And that is specifically now as we enter this new era where we are going to break free of all that oppression and all that chaos and the masculine energies. And we're going to embody and embrace the more feminine sides, where we're more flowing, where we're more allowing, where um, we're being softer, where we're embracing systems that are inclusive and systems that are more natural and organic and that help us be and become who we truly are.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
all the systems will be supporting that. And what I heard you telling your audience also is that you've been in that same space and trying. I thought that you said that in a way that resonated with me very much, trying to bring all of those new things, but in the old field.
Mm,
Yeah, and that, well, for me, it didn't work. It worked until a certain level, but I felt like no, there's more. I need to break out of that
yeah.
and create my own path. And that's probably for you as well.
Yeah.
And then you're truly being this way shower because you're forging the path. You're creating something that has never been done before.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. This is exactly it. Thank you. You shared so many beautiful things there. I'm like, oh, let's talk about that and that and that. But what we are doing is very much completely a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of operating on every level. So it's unprecedented, which has kind of become an overused word, I feel
Word.
like. But it really is like what we're doing is massive beyond most people's comprehension, the amount of transformation that we're going through right now. And, as you say, like people have different roles in this transition, but the ones who are here to kind of bring in a little bit of that leadership energy, the way shower energy, not from a hierarchical perspective, but paving the path, we've had to kind of break out of the mold sooner to figure out what this is all about. And like, I kind of had this sense, kind of like you did. I had an unconventional, career, but I always kind of felt not right when I was in the matrix, but I kept trying to fit myself into the mold and like carve my path in there. And then I got cancer. And so I was like, okay, this is really not working for me.
It's a
So
pull. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah. Oh, you know what came through to me was you were also earlier because some people might kind of resonate with this as well, but you were saying that you kind of felt that you didn't have spaciousness even though you kind of liked what you were doing with the travel. And then I was thinking of the golden handcuffs, like how a lot of people get kind of handcuffed to the matrix path. I call it the matrix, kind of way of being. Um so it's like what we're doing is like we're breaking free, we're breaking the chains, we're liberating ourselves, and that has a lot to do with our consciousness. So yeah, I am really curious, like what do you see for yourself going forward? Like what is your vision for yourself moving forward?
Hmm. Let me think of that. Um, well, the way forward is uniting with the other way showers and the other pathfinders.
Yes.
I was explaining that earlier in the call today that we have been these pillars of lights for a long time, holding the frequency, holding the light, holding the grid, the promise of the new era, but we had to keep it in. But now it truly is the time, and you see that happening, that we're connecting more and more and more with other way showers, with other pathfinders. And there's also like, I don't know how that is for you, but opportunities keep on showing up. There's like a plentitude of abundance of ideas, possibilities, probabilities, everything arising right now. And I
Yes.
know what I have in my hands now, what I'm working with, um, evolved technology, quantum technology that I'm working with, evolutionary products that can help people heal from all the modern day diseases that we have. We have everything in our hands. I have that on offer. And I want to bring that to a much larger audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm by myself. I'm not like a rock star famous or something, right? So we need these, um, it's like organic cycles, organic circles of people knowing each other that know other people that know other people. And actually, that is the way that we are now also building our community, Amanda, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like this beehive and we're connecting one to another. So we gain a much broader basis of people we know that know people that know people that know people, so
Mm,
that everything we're all doing, and each with our unique perspective, each with the unique things we are doing, each with our own unique mission. Um, we're weaving this whole new tapestry. That is it, but it needs
mhm,
to be distributed farther and wider. And I think that is what is next.
mhm. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
building it, we're weaving it, and then we're spreading it all as a new matrix over the earth.
Yeah, I love that. One of the images, the beehive image I love because it's like, think of the bees building the hive, the nest, and they create the honey, the nectar. It's like the manna from heaven. Honey itself, to go on a quick tangent, is kind of a miracle substance. It does so much for us and it can be preserved for thousands of years
Yes,
and it
there's
holds.
Egyptian honey being found in pots that can still
Yes.
be.
Yes, exactly. And it has all these like antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal properties. And it's like the one substance that you can survive on for if that's the only food you have. Like it has enough.
And chia leaves, that also.
Which one?
Chia leaves, you can also survive on chia
Oh,
leaves.
yeah,
From
yeah. Does it
from the
provide enough
polymer of
calories?
the resin. You only
Yeah.
need like 1 teaspoon to survive on, but honey as well,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, yeah. I guess I wasn't aware of shilajit because I didn't know if it had enough calories. But yeah.
Or it has all the minerals. That's
Yes, the
probably
minerals,
what you.
yeah, it's like full spectrum on that front. And then the other image that came to mind is like I love the weaving the tapestry image as well, but I also was seeing like a diamond web around the earth. It's like little
Yes,
nodes and we're all connecting and the diamond nodes just connecting across the earth and it's like we've all lit up like kind of little pillars of light and now we're kind of igniting and then finding
exactly.
each other.
Pillars of
And
light, and now they're connected. Like I
yeah.
always see this blue crystal grid, but indeed those, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
the new matrix. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
these pillars being connected, and now it has been prophesized for
Yes.
ages that
Mm-hmm.
now was the time that we were all to be connected, the
Mm-hmm.
rainbow tribe, yes. And
Yeah.
also what I love very much is the prophecy of the eagle and the help me out there, the
The
eagle
condor.
and the condor. Yeah,
Yes.
so the condor represents like the South American, the more the indigenous ancient wisdom,
The heart and the intuition as well.
heart, intuition, everything actually what the new era is about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the eagle, what representing, of course, United States, but in general, the West, the rational thinking, the for us now, the old ways that were seen as the new ways
Yeah.
when the eagle came.
Yeah.
And it is said that when the eagle and now I forget it again.
Condor.
Condor, I don't know why that doesn't come right now. So when the condor and the eagle start flying again together, that is the time where we see the greatest change.
Yes.
And that has actually happened. People have, shared pictures of them flying together. It is now, and all the prophecies are coming through.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all the prophecies. I love this conversation because I touch on so many of these themes in my book as well, including these
You have to
prophecies.
read it.
Yeah. No, it's just like all the synchronicities, but it just shows that, we're all connecting to these same frequencies of consciousness and the same wisdom and it's arising from within us in the collective field. Like we are actually it's not so much a learning as a remembrance of this higher truth and a reconnection with this higher truth. But it's like the white buffalo calves, like there were actual white
Yes, also
buffalo
seen
calves being
that.
birthed.
Been
And
seen
yeah,
twice.
something about the eagle and condor that came up last year is they also represent actual tribes. And they had a meeting of the tribes, like the native elders came together, and it really represented the shift into the new era. And, we're talking about today being the end of the Kali Yuga, last year things happening. Well, we just have to remember that 2012 is meant to be the Mayan end of times, right? Because we're in such grand cycles of time, each threshold is a major threshold. And so it's a multi-year transition process. I just want to kind of anchor that in because I do talk about all these dates being like the date, the moment, because it feels like that so much, but it is another layer of shedding that we've been going through.
Another set on the, uh,
Yeah, but I kind of feel, and I've heard other people say this, like March of 2025, for many reasons, many astrological reasons, many harmonic convergence reasons, the Kali Yuga reason. Like this is really a huge rebirth portal, and kind of feeling like final rebirth, and then it's just expansion. Like we're on the wave of expansion without having to really go through the continual rebirths and the shedding processes. Not that there won't be anything that ever comes up, but it's like those deeper dark nights of the souls, if you want to call it like that. So it's like now is the time for us to really step out there and connect and really begin to anchor in and create what we're here to create, like the new systems and structures on a practical level. Like, what is that going to look like? Right. So yeah, like people like Karina are really here to help anchor in that vision and then show people how to like actually make that practical, and that we have these tools, and there's so much available to us. It's just a matter of meeting the minds and then coming together to collaborate. It's that cooperation and collaboration energy versus the competition. So, yeah, I guess this is a good segue too to share a little bit more about our community if you want.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I will share my vision on that because as a coach and energy healer, helping people break through patterns, help people see and uh, then release what is keeping them back. I've been working a lot with people with grand visions, people that are truly feeling they are here for something different and that are truly wanting to create that from their hearts. But what most people are being held back by is money.
Hmm.
Can I leave this 9 to 5 job because I desire to be energy healer, but I don't know if I can make a living of that. I dream of this beautiful school that will teach children about magic and alchemy, but yeah, where will I find the funds? Who will sponsor me?
Hmm.
Can I build my business in ease and not be exhausted by constant launches and things like that?
Hmm.
And every time money is there as the big, thing pulling us back.
Yeah.
So when I started out as a coach, and I don't know where it came from because I've always, even though I made my own money and I had my own business, I still had a lot of poverty consciousness in me. I've done a lot of work on that for the past 8 years, I think, 10 years maybe. I don't know. Journals upon journals, work upon work. But when I started off as a coach, I said, now I want to become rich as well. And I was actually like surprised by myself saying that. I was like, where is this coming from?
Mm.
Because money never, interested me because I was one of these people, like I think many healers will recognize, like we do it because it is important. Money is not important.
Hmm.
But I started shifting into a space where I felt like money is freedom. And what if I do allow money into my life? What kind of freedom will I have? And that desire to live less according to my schedule, that became bigger and bigger. So when I started coaching, I already embraced like a few network marketing models with beautiful products that are actually here to transform humanity. I'm
Hmm.
working with one product, for example, they were trying to sell it to, they were trying to take it away from that company and it's like one of the most important discoveries in the medical scene, I would say.
Yeah.
But Big Pharma tried to buy it.
Mm.
And they were actually almost doing it because they were offered, yeah, millions. I
Mm.
don't know how much, but a lot of money. But then they thought, like, if we do that, that product will probably be shelved. And that
Yeah.
means that it gets taken out of the market. The recipe will be shelved in a dark space and it will never see the daylight again.
Yeah.
So that's how many companies, for example, started sharing their products through other people, through
Mm.
social sharing, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually a beautiful way of allowing individual people, um, letting them share what has offered transformation in their lives, having them share it with other people, where you become this vessel for change, this vessel for transformation. So I already embraced a few of those uh, businesses.
Yeah.
But then I felt like I want to even bring this further. I want to be able to offer to all of my clients the possibility of becoming independent, truly free, and also for myself. And the moment I started asking for more clear guidance on that path, um, our community came onto my path. And since it is called the Prophecy Project, and you by now know that I'm so very much aligned with all these ancient prophecies about these times, I was
Mm-hmm.
immediately like, I knew that this was for me because it couldn't have been more clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I dived in and I found what is behind it, like what we are trying to create, bringing the Wayshowers, the new Earth leaders that have a very specific vision and mission together.
Mm-hmm.
So we no longer need to have conversations about how are we going to bring in the money, but we shift the conversations to now we have this wealth. What are we going to do with it? And
Yes.
that changes everything because you're aligning with people that are already a leader, that have beautiful visions, each in their own fields. And we are creating this net
Mm-hmm.
of wealth and being able to work on our own projects, reach out to others like, what do you need? And it's not money. This is not about the money. This is not
Mm-hmm.
about the freedom. This is also about, Amanda, you wrote a book. Some other people want to write books. Can you help me? And how can we help each other?
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, support one another's missions and to bring this forward, to steward this and bring this forward to others as being a gift and showing to other persons like, you have a big mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? And if that is something like this, here we have this on the golden platter for you. This is what you can do, and you can step into it today and start today.
Mm-hmm.
Connect with us, invest your money in it is community raised capital.
Yeah.
It's fully legal. It's very important to say that, I
Yes.
think. It's all blockchain, it's legal, and it's by donation, and that is what makes it legal.
Yeah.
And we have this vessel for you to follow all your dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you explained that so beautifully. And yeah, it's about being fully resourced so that we can build our bigger visions is really what it's about. It's not about, just ego-based desires and having all the wealth in the world. It's not about that. It's about saying, "Hey, I have this mission, this vision that's coming from my heart that can help humanity, that can help people heal, like the healing centers, the new earth, biodynamic, regenerative farming type modalities, things like this, like building genuine communities and new schools, like free schools, just giving people pathways to help nurture their children and help nurture their intuitive gifts as well as their intellect, right? And allowing them the capacity to explore because so much of family life right now is centered around work and school. People rushing out the door to get their kids to daycare and school so they can go to work so that they can pay for the daycare and then rush back to pick the kids up and then get them to dinner, get them in the bath, put them to bed, and then you just got to do it all over again the next day.
It's the full rat race. It's the rat race.
Yes,
And we want out.
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't fit us anymore. It's like old news, and we
Yes.
need new systems. And I think almost everybody on the planet can feel it, but most cannot tap into the
Mhm.
possibility that there's even another way yet. And
Yes. And
that's
and it's the
yeah,
fear that keeps people back. It's the concern about safety when
the
you don't
money,
have
money.
that money. And it's always back to the money. You're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. And so one term that we've been using for this is unconditional wealth, which I feel is a really good way to look at it because it's not this time for money model and it's not limited by, work for pay. It's like it's so much more expansive than even creating your own business. It's like that's beautiful and you have capacity to do your own thing and grow it dependent upon how you tweak things and whatnot. But there's still that exchange of energy involved in some capacity. So this is even beyond that, because there are some people who have built up incredible soul aligned businesses, but it does often take a lot of work unless they have that support or those resources to put the tweaks in, to create the strategy, to invest in the ads or whatever. So there's still money involved in that usually as well. So it's like
And working hard usually.
yeah, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. But imagine if you had all the resources to just fund it and support it without worrying about bootstrapping or, like, am I going to be able to afford that coach or that program or that person to help me implement that thing that I need on my back end for this to actually
And
work?
not even that, even larger. Like
Uh-huh.
if you were to evolve your business, if you were to upscale your business, how many more people could you help?
And that, exactly. That's the point of
But if you're a
scaling.
one-on-one coach and you're
Hmm.
helping, like how many people can you help on a day? Like five, six, five times. So like maybe like 30 clients a day, maybe something more, I don't know. But what if you could upscale your business
Yeah.
and you could help thousands of people in the
Yes.
same amount of time because you were able to take these coaching, because you had somebody to build the systems for you, because you could do all these ads and reach a global
Mhm.
amount of people.
It's about the impact. It's about expanding impact. And what I find a lot of people who are on the conscious spiritual path, like they have beautiful hearts and souls, but there's still this poverty consciousness. And I look at it as like a virus at this point. And I do believe that it's an inorganic, inverted, way of operating in the world that has been kind of placed on humanity's consciousness. And it's a total inversion of truth because Mother Earth is inherently abundant, organic, and regenerative, and we see our everything about our matrix is the opposite of that. We're told that, you have to work to live and that there's not enough resources for everybody on the planet to survive. And so we've got to, be responsible citizens and stuff like that. And some of the narratives sound all lovely, but when you really get into it, it's not about saving the planet. It's more about hoarding and controlling by the few. So this is about distribution to the many so that we can all be fully resourced so that eventually that trickles out into impacting everybody. It has a ripple effect of beauty and positivity and abundance and healing so that we're healing the planet and creating systems and structures for everybody to thrive and be fully resourced. So this is actually as we build wealth, it's at the same time distributing the wealth. So this is what I find so beautiful about it, because also then, once we have the resources, it's like we're going to be buying land and building these centers and these communities, which will have that ripple effect out into the communities. So, it will have so many levels of impact. And this is what I find beautiful about these new models. And people have all of these perceptions of, it's not spiritual to be wealthy. And I'm like, oh, what an inversion that was, to keep us totally
That is
separated from the
vision.
resources, because we're the ones who
And you're
should have the
right.
resources.
I love everything you're saying and have so much to say about that as well.
You
It's
go.
implants. It is implants that have been implanted. Almost everything they tell us is an inversion of the truth.
Mhm.
That's how they do that.
Yeah.
And even within the conscious scene and in the spiritual scene, there's a lot of false light. And it's
Yeah.
like even saving the planet. The planet doesn't need to be saved. The planet can save herself. It's a living entity. She would kick us
Mhm.
off. That is what we would do. And you know, we have all the technology available to us, and that is coming to us now in these times, and that is also prophesized.
Mhm.
For example, there's something with the polar ice in the Arctic and Antarctic. If they find that under the ice, um, there's technology to clean all the oceans
Mm.
within 14 days.
14 days.
Yes, there's
Wow.
technology there. It's already there. We just need to uncover it. Like yesterday, I don't know if you got that in the news. A lot of news came about something discovered below the pyramids, the Cheops
Ah.
pyramid in Egypt. There's technology being discovered right now that has been there since the ancient days. There's pillars, like 8 pillars of 740 meters deep, discovered under the pyramids.
Mhm.
And well, we don't know what direction that might go, but it's probably has to do with free energy. It
Mhm.
probably has to do with um, maybe the halls of Amenti, where a lot of wisdom and old books are supposed to be stored. Maybe that will be discovered. We don't know. It might be something darker, but at least the truth is coming out.
Mhm.
I always believe that, the pyramids are generators of energy.
Yeah.
People have even seen in the Mayan pyramids, but also Egyptian pyramids, like light shining out of the top. So
Mhm.
there's so much more, and this will change the scope of humanity in terms of our history, our true origins. All these things will come out, and then also at one point we will not need money anymore when we're like further ahead.
Yes.
That will
Yes.
go, but that will not be now. That will maybe in few hundred years, I think.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And but yeah, these are all so important to such important topics to talk about. But to your last point, I agree. And I feel that, people are jumping ahead thinking it's kind of another bypass, thinking like, oh, we don't need money to survive.
Money anymore, yes, that.
But what we have to do to get to that point is actually fully recalibrate to wealth consciousness, to true abundance consciousness. And so we've got to embrace the form of wealth that is currently on the planet now, which is money. We've got to transmute any blocks that we have to being wealthy, to being fully resourced, to being abundant. Because if we believe that money is evil, then that's creating separation. And money itself is just a tool. It
An
has been,
energy, it's neutral.
yes,
People don't
exactly.
know this, but money is neutral.
Yeah.
Yes, it has been used for a lot of bad things on the planet.
Mhm.
But what if money returns to the people that want to do good with it?
And then it's a
Force
powerful
for
resource for
good.
the better. It's a God resource then. So yeah,
And that's what
actually,
we're doing. That's what we're doing. And that
that's
is the
what we're
heart of
doing.
it. That is
Yeah.
the heart of it. And I think what we're doing, it brings up a lot of things in people. So it's already clearing that field because
Yeah.
people feel offended when you start speaking about people. And I see it on social media as well. The spiritual people starting to talk about money. They get like, there's like a mob against people doing that.
I've
And that's
experienced
because
that
that
myself.
very old consciousness,
Mhm.
and that is also like something that is implanted in us to, yeah, to attack anyone that dares to, stand
Mhm.
up from the crowd and show and share a different story. And
Yeah,
about money, that is, especially in the spiritual community, it's a wound that is so deep.
it
And,
is. Yeah.
it was always like that with Reiki. You could not ask money if you did Reiki. Yeah, it was always like that. But and it's been ingrained in the spiritual society
Yeah.
because they understood as well that what if these people that want to do good do get a different perspective of money and do use it for the good, then we're helpless, right?
Hmm.
So it's an energy. If you go around as a healer offering free healings all the time because yeah, you think that is what you should do because it's a gift. It's not something you studied for, but it's a gift, for example. Yeah, there's not an even distribution of the money because it's give and take. And that should be in balance. Everything in the universe is in balance.
Yeah.
So
It's a
giving and taking should also be in balance, giving and receiving.
yeah, it's
So
an
if there's
energy
not an
exchange.
energetic exchange,
Hmm.
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we truly look at our poverty consciousness and we truly start to tap into the power of money as a force for good, that will be a whole revolution. And
Exactly.
it is happening. We are at the basis of this revolution.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And I'm sure there are other people out there. I know there are other people, but our community is like, it's
Definitely.
like a crucible. It's an initiation when you step into the energy. It really is. That's a great way to put it because we are alchemizing the actual money, the wealth distribution, and it's really quite a powerful tool. And we're just getting started with it. So yeah, I'm very excited for everything to come. I wanted to touch on the pyramids because I am aware of that. I've been to Egypt on a pilgrimage, and so we got access to the chambers, and so I was aware that those pyramids were much more than we were. So I'm going to share with the audience that immediately as I started talking about this, the feed cut. So they don't want this information out there. But I'll keep it here that I know somebody it's his life's work and mission to do this research and to bring it out into the public. So he was kind of hinting at this disclosure, this huge what was a press conference that they held. He shared about it several weeks ago, so I've been aware that it's coming, and so I kind of have known about this. That they're chambers, and they're also free energy batteries. A lot of the pyramids were actually constructed the temple of the tomb of the bulls, I think it's called, that Saqqara, for example. It's very mysterious, huge slabs that we could not put underground today with our machinery, many tons each of these onyx rocks, and they were just hollowed out so perfectly. But it was actually, if you look at it from a zoomed out perspective, designed like a battery. So,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
if you actually have this understanding, and then also the fact that they go back many more years, we can see all of these structures around the planet from a totally different perspective. All across the world, these pyramids exist. Then some of them are under grass still, or have been kind of destroyed and crumbled, so they look like a mountain or whatever.
Oh,
But
it's so many. I've seen
yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah. And so when we think about it from that perspective, it's like there's this really incredibly potent ancient technology that already exists. And then we look at Tesla with his free energy tools. I just saw something about the Eiffel Tower having been built as a free energy pyramid, a tower,
More. More.
Um, yes.
It's actually a time machine even.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know if I'm touching on subjects that go too far.
Well, whoever is ready for it will hear it,
Oh,
right?
Tesla visited with Eiffel peaceful right before the building of the tower.
Yes, yes, exactly. When you start to connect these dots, and that was another point that you brought up earlier that you're a dot connector. I literally put that in the bio of my book. I'm a or at some point and in my book, I was like, given my completely out of left field trajectory in my early adulthood, I realized I had become perfectly positioned to become a professional dot connector.
I love
I
love
wrote
it.
that in
I
one
was
part.
telling you that I struggle with my what should I call myself? That's something that's for me old to call yourself something. Maybe I should become a dot connector. I am one, but maybe I should call myself
Yeah.
dot connector too.
Some of my
Topic that we're raising from one subject to the other, from money to the pyramids, and from soul, soul mission to I don't know what.
this is how
And
this is how people
gee,
who operate in this world our brains work. Because we see everything as connected. When you understand the quantum field, everything is connected. So, yeah, this doesn't make
if
sense
I
to
may
you quite
interrupt,
yet. What?
that was for me was quite an epiphany.
Yeah.
Like I had my interest, like spiritual field, um, my conspiracies,
Hmm.
and world politics, like
Hmm.
the nitty gritty
Hmm.
side of it. But at one point, I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago, I started connecting these and I started to see that there was like, that they were part of one system. That was the biggest epiphany I've ever got. It's like,
Yes.
holy, this is no
Yeah.
longer separate interests of mine.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then I truly began to understand the true divinity of everything.
Yes. And that's just it. Yeah. Oh, I love this conversation because a lot of people are awakening to like the truthers out there. I call it the black pill versus the gold pill. It's not even just the blue versus the red, but people who kind of the black pill to me is like those deep dark rabbit holes about the darker underbelly of the
Yeah.
government type stuff. Yeah, which I've done plenty of that. But to not be anchored in the gold pill, the divinity, it's much harder to confront that aspect of reality without understanding that the polar side of that situation is that the whole point of all that darkness is to prevent us from accessing this incredible divinity that resides within. What is the purpose of all these control systems is to keep humanity out of their power. But what does that mean? Is that we are actually incredibly powerful and that we are incredibly divine. So for me, it was going through the belly of the beast of the cancer system, but I already had been kind of initiated on a baby level, I suppose you could say, through yoga trainings and meditation. I'd already, and positive psychology. Psychology was my degrees. So I knew a lot about positive mindset and a little bit about energy, but then I went through that and was very anchored in the placebo effect at the same time. And then I got deeper and deeper into the spiritual realms and I felt more and more connected to that divinity. And that's really what shifted things for me. And then I started learning even more about the dark stuff, but I was always anchored in the light. So for me, when I talk about that dark stuff, it's only to shed light on what we need to alchemize and why this is so important so that we can shift the locus of control, the power center, if you will, to kind of use those older terms though, to those with heart. And so that's what we're doing here.
Exactly the same for me, exactly the same for me. And
Mhm.
I've known a long time about all the darkness that is coming out to a larger public right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it only ever enforced my trust
Yeah.
in the divine and the knowing that the light has already won.
Yeah.
And my mission of bringing this change and being on the forefront of this change, because a lot of people cannot see it yet.
Yes.
They
Yes.
have not taken the gold pill. They have taken either not the pill at all, or the or the black pill, as you call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is so much to be happy for. There's so much to be excited for and to celebrate. every day because we're getting nearer and nearer to the complete revelation of everything. And that will happen in all of our lifetimes. It doesn't matter how old anybody is listening here, most everybody will discover it in their lifetime. And that
Yeah.
has never happened before. And I feel truly like honored and privileged to be here. We have front row tickets. I always say that we have front row tickets. We're the brave ones that came to this planet. And everybody that's listening to your podcast, I'm sure, is part of that. Otherwise, they wouldn't listen to it. You have, been that brave soul that chose to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And you wave these golden front row tickets, and like the whole universe is like envious of you having these tickets, sitting here watching this unfold,
We're participating in it. And I'm sitting here thinking like,
co-creating with it.
did
Yeah.
Karina read my book or did she like, infuse my consciousness? I feel like you could have written my book too.
Actually, I started writing two books in 2019, and they're still on my laptop.
Ah, well, maybe this is your
And
sign.
they're called Time to Shine. And the other one I don't know, but it is about these times. That's the beginning of the book. Like, we are living in extraordinary times. That's how it
Yep.
begins. And it was in 2018. So not even the past 5 years in there.
I literally
Finish
say
them.
these things in my book because I'm like, you are playing a starring role in the greatest show in the universe. I literally say things like that in my book. You were one of the lucky ones chosen to be here. Yes, you, even in the
Wow,
midst of all
that's
this
my
chaos.
language.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like you literally
Wow.
could have written my book too. It's really interesting. But of course,
Yes.
because we are connected, like there's a reason we came together. We carry that same frequency of consciousness, and I'm
A
quite
soul
sure if
lift
we,
off frequency. That's how I see it. There's like
yeah,
soul
yeah,
lift
I'm sure
out.
if we tuned in, we actually are like, from the same
Yeah, the same frequency
streams.
group.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
same stream. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, however you want to phrase that. There's a lot of different terms people use for it.
Yes.
But yeah. And so just, I also want to touch on what you were saying about that technology to clean the waters. That's so fascinating. Like I'm not completely sure what you're talking about myself, and I don't know if
It's
we
probably the ice itself.
yeah,
That's
okay.
what I think. The ice
So
itself.
okay, I've heard
We're
something
also
about
speaking
this
about the
differently.
device under the ice in the Antarctic region,
Okay, yeah. And
the extraterrestrial device or ship.
yeah, yeah. And just to kind of broaden that out, that there are technologies in existence, and many of them are natural technologies that
That's
can solve most of the problems that we have on the planet now. I just learned about this plant, and it can solve the polluted soil issues. It can also solve the water issues to some degree, maybe not completely the same, but it can help heal the waters. It can help heal the soil. It can, it's kind of like hemp in its versatility, where it can literally be created into clothing and even construction because it's so durable. So it's like, and it's a little plant that most people, it's like a cute little flower. Most people look at it and be like, cute, not knowing how much potency it holds. Like many of us are aware that these plants and herbs, they have healing properties, but what if it's so much more than that? What if they can literally provide for all? It's like bamboo, we know, hemp, we know, and now this other one, it's just like we have all the abundance, all the resources that we need, and we've got like this incredible crystal technology potential, which I'm not totally attuned to, but I know that like it exists. And
our
um
crystals. We have even crystals in our bodies.
yes, we are
Have you
crystals.
ever heard about the human endocannabinoid system?
Yes, yes. I was
That's
actually
the
just
whole,
seeing.
and that resonates with frequency. It's not even
Mhm.
the tangible things, like frequency. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things, going shortly back to the pyramids, that how they probably built the pyramids, if they're even built by humans, is by a sound frequency.
Yes, yes. There's this oh, I can't remember what it's called, but just south of Miami, actually, there is this. really fascinating. It's like 20 minutes south, so a little off the beaten track. But if I can think of it, I'll put it in the notes below because I'm blanking on it now. But this tiny little man, he created this structure with huge blocks of stone, and he did it all himself, like impossible for a human to move. And it's a mystery. It's considered to be a mystery, but people who know, they're like, I forget the whole history off the top of my head. But it's like he had figured out the secrets, or he knew some of the secrets. Maybe it was like around Tesla's time. I don't know if he knew Tesla, but he had figured this out. And it was basically like telekinesis. He was moving these giant blocks of stone and putting them into place. And I have seen videos of people practicing telekinesis on social media, and they're starting with like aluminum foil, like really, really simple, light objects. But I watched it, like they were doing this, and you could say, oh, they had a fan, but I was like, I don't think so, you know? So, and apparently there's more accounts doing this. So people think clairvoyance and all of that is just kind of woo woo weirdo stuff. They don't believe in it. Well, like people are literally tapping into telepathy and telekinesis as well as all these
Yeah.
clairs and stuff. So it's like we have so much untapped potential internally as well as in the world. So it's like we're just so limited in our ability to perceive it. And that's exactly what
It's
these
because of the global consciousness.
yes. Yeah.
If the global consciousness would, to a certain percentage, like it is the 100 monkey, right? You need a
Hmm.
certain amount of people to believe in a possibility, and then it becomes possibility. Then it collapses into reality if you see it from a quantum perspective.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so there's not enough people believing in the possibility, and that's why these gifts are not opened up to us yet. Not
Yes.
to everybody, at least, but you
Yes.
can all train. And I've
Mhm.
I've spent so many years reading so many books on the bridge between spirituality and science. And I've
Mhm.
read books like Lynn McTaggart's book, for example, like Power of Eight and The Field, and books like that,
Mhm.
that state university research after research after research
Mhm.
about reality, about these um, how would you say these senses, these extra senses that we
Ah,
have,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
it's all being proven.
Yes.
It's all being proven, and all by
Mhm.
universities. It's not like pseudo scientific. It's scientific evidence. But the point is that almost nobody dares to step out and share this on a broader scale because
Yeah.
they'll be exiled from their jobs and everything. So
Yes, yes. And so, I've been speaking into this as well myself, also from a medical lens, a medical perspective. When I was in grad school, my advisor told me I had a PhD project on my hands for my master's dissertation, and I tuned in. I was like, what would it look like for me to get a PhD? Would I want to do that? And I realized no, because there is so much red tape, and there's this phrase in academia, publish or die. So it's like you won't get funding, you won't get tenure unless you get published in the esteemed publications. And those esteemed publications will turn away papers that counter the accepted narrative because they're like, oh, like, that this is wacky, or it's not real research or whatever. And so maybe you'll get published in one of those less esteemed journals, but then people will be like, oh, but that's not a legitimate journal. And so
that's
this is how that perception of, expertise telling, it's trust the experts mentality, but the experts often look at data and just forget about reality. And
science is just a paradigm trying to prove itself. That's all it is.
exactly, exactly. And when we look at it, most of those models are based on Newtonian physics, and our reality is a quantum reality. And so all of these publishes,
Favorite
as you
topic.
said, yeah, the studies exist, the science exists, but people are
Everything.
not paying attention to it because it will ruin so many of the industries that are in control right now.
And Newtonian science has never been able to prove. the what's the word? Anomaly.
Anomaly.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
pull it off. I'm struggling with my word.
Doing
So
great.
they haven't been able to prove it like the placebo effect. It's there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Doctors say it's there, scientists say it's there, but nobody dares to start to investigate it
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's the
And it's not
placebo
being
effect.
embraced by
Hmm.
science as a tool to
Hmm.
help people heal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Same as the
exactly.
quantum field. I work with quantum technology, and that in Europe, I can state in the US, I wouldn't even be able to state that it works for certain things. I can say that it works for depression. I can say that it works for migraines and chronic pain and a few other things. But then I would have to say there's many other modalities, but they have not been proven by the traditional way of investigating these frequencies. So they cannot be mentioned. They have a
Hmm.
certain sentence that I need to, in
Yeah.
every video that I make, I need to state this because
Hmm.
it hasn't been proven in the conventional sense.
Yeah.
It's there, it's
Yeah.
there, but not in the conventional sense. So, they're on a journey. It's like a witch hunt.
Oh, totally.
Look at
Yeah.
this stuff. Look at all the holistic doctors in the US. There were like hundreds of holistic doctors that,
Hmm.
I don't even know if I can speak about this.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Zoom will
What are accepted terms?
stop.
Eliminated,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
Mm.
eliminated.
Hmm. In very bizarre, mysterious circumstances in most
Yes,
cases.
definitely. Yeah, and that all happened before 2020, by the
Yep.
way.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
it's even a risky business to bring out the truth and to bring out natural healing because it's
Yes.
natural healing. It's
Hmm.
what we already have and what most people can access. It's there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's as soon as you understand what has been hidden, you understand just how backwards and upside down the system is and just how dark it is. And it's impossible to not see it once you see it. And it's very tough for people because they're like, it's not proven by science. It's such a convenient narrative to impress upon people who got their degrees and they trust that, they trust the science. They genuinely trust the scientific process, but they forget that cognitive bias is very real and humans are still humans. Science is only as good as the humans conducting it, and many can be bought off, and many can also be looped
Open to be
into,
thought of.
yeah, that they can be looped into this idea that they really are the expert and that only their data is relevant. Like it's kind of wild to witness people just believing that they have a total grasp on what is reality and what is true, and they will not accept anything that doesn't run counter to that
Well,
doesn't run parallel to their narrative. And so
it's
experts can be
fun. It's
caught
very
in
fun
these
still.
mental traps as well. So yeah, it's
And
really,
yeah, I'm like you, higher educated, but they say in general, the higher one is educated, the more one is gullible in this
yeah,
way, because they
yeah.
do trust like educated people and politicians and people that have studied for it and people that are authority figures.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and back to the subject that we started with, it's all about our inner authority and the inner knowing and the doing your own research, the investigating about what is truly out there, like simple plants, but also yeah, the mysteries of this world, and also what is out there in terms of new technology,
Mm-hmm.
what is out there in terms of the quantum field. The quantum explains everything that we do not know how to prove with Newtonian physics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's just so fascinating once you open your mind to the power of the universe, but also to recognize that that is within because we are connected to that. And I always see it as the heart being the portal to that consciousness. So it's like out of the head into the heart, allowing that intuition to guide us and to kind of thank you for bringing it back full circle. It was 11:11 here when you did that too, by the way. uh, and that our sole purpose is something that like really is from within. And for me, a huge part of my journey has been leaning into that trust, that self-trust. It's like I have broken the mold a lot of times, but also gotten sucked back into it many times. So it's not easy to break yourself out of that mold. And I've really enjoyed this conversation because I feel like energetically, as much as anything else, like we've really conveyed the sense of possibility that is open and available to us if we can just take that step, take that leap out into the unknown
Leap
and
of
to really,
faith, leap
yeah,
of faith into the heart,
leap of faith
into the
and
unknown and into the heart.
yes, and follow your own spark as your name is Karina at Karina, follow your own spark. Yes, it's
Because that
really,
is what I've always done and I will always keep doing. And
I love
yeah, your
that.
own spark is the best you have. It's your own inner guidance.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience? You want to share kind of what you're working on now, if there's anything you want to, like any offers that you want to share with them?
Oh, thank you for that. I
Yeah.
am currently working on something that excites me very much because that will be my masterpiece. I've been working with quantum technology and with other technologies that the time is right to share that with
Mm,
people. And I know a lot of people know about this quantum realm, quantum possibilities, quantum jumping, and that's all like woohoo terms out there. But I know a lot of people can feel and sense that energy and frequency are the next level for breaking through.
mhm,
Because in frequency can be shown what is truly keeping us back. And I want to bring this to a broader audience, and I'm creating a 3 month container, helping people, whether they are just interested in transforming themselves or transforming lives of other people, whether they're already a coach, but more in the traditional sense, or a practitioner, and they really want to tap into the quantum, learn about energy work, learn about intuition, learn about how to co-create your own reality from a space of where you truly are now, open up to, seeing more, knowing more, being more. That is what I'm creating right now. And
mm.
it will be a journey of discovery of your own gifts and of tools you can use to, yeah, transform all of that for yourself, for others, that you will not recognize yourself in 90 days.
I
So
love
I'm really
that.
excited about that.
I can feel your excitement.
Let
It
me know.
sounds like a really beautiful container, very powerful as well. Because, yeah, everything is energy. You and I obviously speak the same language and have been following similar paths. So, yes, I think what you're creating is really, really it's so aligned for this time and so needed. So, how can people get in touch with you? I will have everything linked below, but what is from your own mouth, what is the best way for people to connect with
Actually,
you?
when you see my name here on screen at
Mhm,
Karina underscore follow your own spark, that's me on Instagram. So
mhm.
that's possible, or otherwise followyourownspark.com is my website.
Okay, very simple. Awesome. And again, I'll have all of that linked below so for easy access, but it's also very easy to just find. So that's helpful. Oh my goodness. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. This has really been just like filling my cup this morning. We're very aligned. I feel like we could talk for hours if we really wanted to.
Good.
And we can maybe, down the road have another conversation. So,
I'd love to. Thank
yeah.
you so much for having me. And yeah, it filled my cup too. And there's like so many diverse topics. And
Mhm.
but yeah, in the end, they all come back to the
Always, because
thing. And
everything is
that's what the
connected. Yeah.
most divine about it. Thank you for
Yes.
having me.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on and for this fascinating and beautiful conversation. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in. Please connect with Karina and reach out to either of us with any questions. So, with that, onward and upward in love and light as we journey home to the heart of truth. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in to the Heart of Truth podcast with your host, Amanda Erin Kelly. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a rating or review on your favorite platform. And if you'd like to go deeper, grab your copy of my book, Let There Be Light, and join us inside the free community in Illumina Wisdom School, where you can access free resources to jumpstart your journey, such as a higher self activation and the Body Temple Blueprint Masterclass, as well as explore the plethora of resources, including Awakening Fundamentals and Luminary, my signature path to wholeness and mastery, to help you become your own healer and sovereign authority. You can access everything at thisartcalledlife.com or find the links down in the show notes below. Until next time, onward and upward in love and light as we journey home to the heart of truth.